So we all know Kevin Magnussen, F1 driver, sports car driver. He's had some input in this wheel from Asetek. Casper's here, he's going to tell us about it. The small details in sim racing I'm obsessed about, and then we're going to have a look at some of the range from Asetek. So what has Kevin Magnussen done in this brand new Invicta wheel?
Well, first of all, he helped us to develop some of our products. Obviously, we would love to have done more with him in marketing, but all the engineers kind of hogged him in the R&D department. So he helped us dial in what he feels like a Formula wheel should have. So some of the ergonomics with the button should be of easy reach, but also one specific design feature that he requested is that you'd have buttons on the back for easy reach. So you don't have to take your hands off the wheel to reach some of the other buttons. So that is one specific feature that was directly requested by him.
That's really interesting to think that from an F1 driver perspective, he doesn't want to have to move his thumb or his finger. So if you're seeing wheels that have stuff in other positions, that might look great, but from a pure performance perspective, so that's incredible to see that. And I can see the ridging as well, like around just to make sure that you've got it, I guess.
It helps with that what we have with our wheel, we had a lot of LEDs and stuff like that can help with the peripheral vision, because when you're driving and in a tight corner, you don't want to take your eyes off the screen and to find the exact button. So with the different sizes of ridging, you always know which button you're pressing.
Okay, so if we just zoom in on this, we can see that they're actually different sizes of ridging, so you know that you're on that one. It's almost like Braille in a way. I don't know a lot about Asetek, to be honest. I've heard the software is really good, but I don't know why, but that's what people tell me. Matt Malone was just saying it's good. So
yeah. So what we tried to do with all of our sim racing product is to make a simple and advanced software. So when you first buy your products, get them mounted to a rig, you should be able to just put your wheel on your wheelbase, go directly into a game and start racing and have a seamless experience.
Really?
That's a lot of, we want to really have some plug-and-play products.
So you really want it to be a plug-and-play, out-of-the-box product?
Absolutely, because I think a lot of sim racers, they want the ability to tinker with all the settings, but a lot of sim racers also wants just a plug-and-play experience. Get the equipment on your rig, start racing, and then you can, when you've got the time or anything, you can start to tinker more with the settings, but you're able to have something out of the box that just works and works for a long time.
So this product obviously looks insane. We've got, like a spider on the back with clutch paddles, shifters.
Yeah.
Can we see one in action somewhere on the rig, and maybe look at a few other products as well?
Yeah. Someone driving over here.
Wow, I love how the number has a gyro.
Yeah, exactly.
How is that just an accelerometer in there, or?
Yeah, it's actually connected to the wheelbase, so the wheelbase registers the position.
So it's not even a gyro, it's perfectly accurate, there's no latency.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we've seen a lot of companies come out, obviously, with circular displays, and they move the whole display, and there's lag.
Yeah,
but because you've got the wheelbase data.
Yeah, exactly. So we're doing it directly through the wheelbase.
We have a look at this wheel here.
And having a high resolution, high hertz update rate. That makes us able to do something that's a bit more fluid, both with the gyro thing, but also with the animations.
I had no idea. Is that a common feature across brands, or is that something pretty unique to Sim?
I think it's something that's obviously other companies teased it for a long while, and we wanted to show that we could do it the same way and maybe better than others.
There should be a trademark name for like what it is or something. I don't know.
Yeah. We need to trademark or patent some of the technology, but it's actually our own panel that we combined with our own designed glass to make it the display, which makes it a lot easier for us to do firmware and driver updates.
So I know Asetek has recently announced a console license or a future console license. Yeah. Maybe let's go down the price range a little bit and look at some more lower price products, and let us know if there's any compromises or how you've been able to get them at a lower price range.
Yeah, obviously when we can, let's see if I'll go get this wheel back and I'll get back in a minute. So behind us here, we have all of our product ranges. At the front, we of course have our flagship with the Invicta wheelbase and the Invicta pedals, and some of the accessories for it. Our quick release, which has been really popular for us, something completely different with the power and data integration.
Can you just confirm for us on this channel, does it go that way or does it go that way?
It actually goes this way, because then you can see, let's see if I can, obviously this goes on the wheel, and then you have the wheelbase, you can see these pogo pins that are retractable. And then you just do it like this, and then it's absolutely the precision milled down to 1/1000th of a millimeter. You have to have the nice slide, but there's absolutely no flex. You can't move it out at all. So that's some of the manufacturing we can do.
We must have mounted our wheelbase upside down or something. So this is called the Invicta series.
Yeah, absolutely. Then we can go a step down to the 40 series. It's right.
But that's a 27 Newton meter.
27 Newton meter wheelbase.
Why not call it an A27 or something and just tell people this is? Why go for Invicta?
Yeah, I think what we want to have like a familiar feeling for all our products. So we want a product family name instead of more, let's say, cynic or cold. Like we know that people use a lot of time on our products. They love the products they bring home, so it should feel like something nice instead of like an engineering project.
It's easier in conversation, so what pedals to use are the...
Yeah, it's easier to say that I have the Invicta instead of the ZX257 or something like that.
I think cameras could learn from that.
Yeah, absolutely. But obviously they have more product ranges than anyone. But
I love how you synchronize this wall. If you pan around there.
Yeah, absolutely. We have all our steering wheels over here, and then we have the 40. So when you saw the Invicta wheel earlier, you can obviously see we have some of the same design language. You have easy reach for the buttons, and we have like a Formula style wheel and what we call a round or a GT style wheel.
It's basically very similar.
Very similar in terms of buttons and button placement.
Which is more popular?
I would say the Formula wheel has been very popular for us. This released this last year at the Expo.
Is that wider diameter slightly? Or?
Yeah, it's a bit wider diameter, but what's really special about this, you're able to change the handles. So with a lot of other sim racing brands, what we learned from our customers were every time they need to have a new feel, a new look for the steering wheel, they needed to buy a new steering wheel. So every time you wanted to have another wheel, you have to splash out the cash for a completely new one. So what you can do with this is actually
I can see the screws here, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. It's 6 screws, and then you can mount a different rim. So let's say you're more of a round wheel type of guy.
So it is a hub and rim, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. And then you can just mount this, and it's fairly inexpensive to change. And that approach has been really popular for us. So we've actually done the modularity and interchangeability for a complete range. So now for the Formula style wheel, this is the same style wheel as the Invicta wheel. So you can use, let's say you bought a 40 wheel years ago, and now you want to buy the Invicta wheel. You can actually just order the Invicta wheel without the handles, and use your old handles if you really like them. So we have all these handles that are interchangeable, so you don't have to buy.
I like these handles.
Yeah, exactly. But you can of course buy it with those if you still like to race with both.
Before we go over here, are these the elastometers for the brake?
Yeah, exactly.
They're not greased. These are much thicker than other elastometers I've seen.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm right or wrong in saying that, but these are very chunky. We live in a world now where there's active pedals and elastometers, and what does the thicker elastometer give in terms of?
Absolutely. So I'll bring an Invicta brake. So
by the way, it's great. Casper just knows everything I ask. Casper's like, yeah, I'll bring it over.
Yeah. So this is a hydraulic Invicta brake. So it's like a slave master cylinder system. So you have the hydraulic in here, and then you have another chamber with the elastomer. So there's almost no deflection on the elastomer, so it won't get worn over time.
Yeah.
It's purely the pressure from the liquid pressing on the elastomer.
So it's not a simple elastometer brake. It's a hydraulic brake with elastomer.
Yeah, exactly. So the elastomer just controls how much force you'll need to activate the full braking pressure.
Ah, okay.
So let's say you can change it pretty simply. I won't screw it all out because we're standing here and it takes a while, but you can just simply exchange the elastomer to fit what you need.
Got it.
And so
Okay, somehow we've got this for ourselves now, so I don't know if there's...
to see with
Do we look to... What about going more budget in terms of La Prima?
yeah.
Can you talk to us about design cues, like what you've been able to keep, what is reserved for the higher models, and
So
why it's important to have a product in this price range?
yeah, I think we wanted to be able to do something that is easier to get into our ecosystem, as it's popularly called, without breaking the bank at the start. So we've tried to make it more modularity and upgradable. So you upgrade the pedals all the way, and I can show you a bit later. But also the interchangeability of the rims. You can see it's a familiar feeling when you have a La Prima and a 40 button box.
Yeah. Different finish, but yeah,
exactly.
Same.
So with the 40 button box, you'll have the toggle switches, you'll have the flag lights. You can see you'll be able to mount extra, like a magnetic input pedal and a clutch pedal, whereas this is more simple with the shifters only.
So it looks like what you don't compromise on is button placement. There's no compromise on the ergonomics of button placement.
What is really important to us, because we produce some of the world's best wheelbases, most detailed wheelbases, and to really take advantage of the quality of the wheelbase, you'll need something that is very light, but also very, very rigid. Because as soon as you have a bit of flex in your steering wheel, you'll have some of the strength from the wheelbase just vanishing into the air. So that's why we don't compromise on the materials or the rigidness or something. So you won't see us making something that can easily break and stuff like that, because it's simply not in the brand identity.
Let's look a little bit into the future that a lot of people are going to be excited about. Probably not a lot you can talk about, but obviously console on the horizon. Any rough philosophy there in terms of console, in terms of, are people going to be able to use high-end equipment on it, or is it just going to be sort of more the budget, or what roughly is the idea with it?
Yeah, obviously we want to make it as modular as possible, and obviously it would be great to use the Invicta wheel on that product range, but it's also determined of if we need to make the high end work with the low end, then it's obviously be a bump in price, but we'll try to make the same quick release that we're known for with all the steering wheels and wheelbases, and match that, but in a more cost-efficient material to make it work. But obviously, the heavier the wheel and the lower the strength of the wheelbase, you'll get another experience. But it is our goal to have the steering wheels work.
It's really interesting, and I think great to hear you talk about quick release, because that's such a pain point for consumers when there's a big range and then it gets confusing as to what quick release need to get. So the fact that there's something to think about, I think is great, because you want, again here with your branding, it's easy for people to understand, this is my budget, this is the range. And when you don't want to be the worst thing is you don't want someone to buy a series of products and the quick release is wrong. That's just like, that can't happen.
Absolutely, and we've tried. There are other sim racing brands that have their own USB language in terms of the wheelbases, and that makes that you need to have a third-party adapter or something else to use other brands' wheels or wheelbase together. And we tried to make a standard USB protocol, which means that basically our ecosystem is open to everyone, and if you can get the quick release like this is a wheel-side quick release, install it on your steering wheel, connect the cable, and then you can obviously pass it through. And then you have the integrated data and electronics, so you don't need a long coil cable to put around your steering wheel.
Always dangles
get stuck, or you trip over it when you get out the sim rig and all that stuff. So we try to make a nice solution that people like to use, and that is quick to do, and you can just exchange wheel in a matter of seconds.
Well, like I said, I didn't personally know a lot about Asetek, and it wasn't necessarily like immediate for me to be like, oh, that's a 27 or what it needs. But now I feel like I understand a bit more about the product lines and sort of what they're going for and what cannot be compromised Asetek and the philosophy of the console. It's an incredible stand you've got here at the Sim Racing Expo. You've got an LMP car with an exposed engine that's been running, right? That's what I've been hearing.
Yeah, it's we turn the engine to get some attention sometimes. And it's actually it won this season in its. We've been racing this season in Denmark, and actually holds the track record for all the 3 top Danish tracks.
At the Danish track.
Yeah.
Okay, a genuine beast there. So we started with Kevin Magnussen, and now we can see Kevin Magnussen's input actually filtering down to the entry-level models. I don't know if there's anything else you want to mention. I feel like we've covered so much. It's a bit of a whirlwind.
I could keep on talking for the rest of the weekend, but you guys probably also have other stuff to do, but yeah.
Well, we'll keep an eye on the product, especially the console, and yeah, interesting to see the philosophy and what cannot be compromised Asetek, and that's why Kevin Magnussen's been getting involved and even feeding back on the wheels.